I don't play Silksong, but it seems like it's doing really great. Didn't it crash the Steam? Like, yeah, like, it crashed Steam. The store, you couldn't buy it and download it because it was so successful. All the stores. Wow! Okay, alright, let's hear it out. Just a bunch of jealous mother flippers, huh? Okay, I'm ready.
Here. So over the past year or so, there has been a sort of assembly line of AAA flops in the gaming industry. Games that have cost once legendary studios hundreds of millions of dollars and countless layoffs. And what's made those failures even more embarrassing for these companies is the fact that a lot of indie games during that time have had immense levels of success with development teams.
Schedule 1 recently released a free update too, and it's huge. I gotta play that.
That you can typically count on one hand in terms of the number of developers needed to make these breakout hits. Now, of course, we have seen the recent release of Hollow Knight Silksong. This is the sequel to the previous Hollow Knight game that sold around 15 million copies back in 2017. And this game was recently announced in terms of its release date. It was announced only about 2 weeks before September 4th when this game was released. And at a $20 price point, I don't think it's really too surprising to add up all those factors. And when you look at the success, it just adds up, right? Right now, nearly 500,000 in-game players. Here's the chart. So
$20 for a brand new game. They don't even sell DLCs for $20 anymore. I think the industry standard is $30.
Far over the first couple of days, every day peaking over 500K.
That's
this
insane.
is a massive, massive success. And again, looking at the total picture, all of the factors involved, I don't think a lot of people are really surprised by this. In fact, things are probably going better than a lot of people expected, especially around that $20 price point. It's really that easy, ladies and gentlemen. Come out with a good, enjoyable experience and give it a reasonable price point, and people will really look fondly upon your game.
The fact that piracy is encouraging people to buy it instead of stealing it because it's so good. That's a wholesome ending right there.
In your company. In fact, Silksong is doing so well, even known game pirates are encouraging people to just buy it instead of steal it, which is pretty unheard of. On top of that, some other fans are hoping to give...
For those that don't understand it, there's only so many trusted pirates in the, like, gaming pirating sphere. And the fact that they're doing this is wild. They're like, maybe you shouldn't pirate this.
More money than the $20 they already gave because they think it was worth more than that $20 price point. So clearly a lot of goodwill has been generated here along with a lot of sales. Now this has been a total disruption for the gaming industry. It has served as a major embarrassment for a lot of the AAA titles, and also a lot of indie developers are really scratching their heads and trying to figure out how to fix what's going on, including having to delay and postpone their release dates because they were caught off guard by this last-minute release date announcement from Silksong, and they believe they are being dwarfed by the success, and there won't be any attention left for them. But this is all crazy because you think about what's going on.
Silksong or Claire Obscure are probably going to have like a big fight over Game of the Year at this point.
Industry and how crazy things have gotten with these
bloated
budgets and huge teams working on games that end up flopping. Then you look at Team Cherry, who's responsible for Hollow Knight Silksong.
W Australia.
And their core development team consists of 3 dudes. It's just 3 people who are responsible for a game that is literally disrupting the industry right now, and it's pretty impressive.
Shake it
up. Then you
up.
look around at like Ubisoft and the other usual suspects who are trying to push the idea of quadruple A price points, trying to sell you on games like Skull and Bones with nearly billion-dollar budgets, and then being completely shocked when, well, people don't feel like they have to give their money over to these companies. And they're also the ones trying to convince you that you should get used to not owning your games. But then they get squashed by these indie developers, and it's honestly pretty cathartic to see. On top,
I think it's such a fucking funny slap in the face. When Baldur's Gate 3 came out, they released a physical edition and made a tweet saying, like, you get the game in its entirety, like the disc and everything, and you have that as is. There's no code, there's no, like, piece of paper that makes you download the game off the internet. Like, you get what you pay for, and I found that so fucking based. Larian Studios is so fucking fine for that.
On top of that, the future doesn't look too bright for some other AAA releases. Marathon is one that was supposed to disrupt the shooting game scene.
I was not impressed by this at all.
A lot of the gameplay and designs have been heavily criticized and left people very underwhelmed. And their initial release date was supposed to be towards the end of September. That has been delayed. Probably good news for them because Silksong would have also pushed them a bit too. And you compare what's going on.
The fact that Silksong is a completely different genre and it is absolutely destroying the market because of, like, people's expectations is so funny to me. Like, this is an extraction shooter. This isn't like a Soul-like or a platformer. This is an extraction shooter. They're like, oh, damn, we should delay this because people are just going to be playing Silksong and nobody's going to give a shit about our game.
Now with Silksong just kind of dropping when it's ready, and people flock to it. Then you have Bungie offering $500 gift cards to people who participate in the next playtest. They have to pay people $500 to just want to playtest this game. It is going to be such a disaster, but you would think maybe there's something to learn here. If you look around at everything happening with Silksong, other indie games, and the scene generally, maybe there's some lessons to be learned. Man? Well, not according to these journalists, who are trying their best.
This kind of just reminds me of, like, V-Shoujo, like, offering people hush money to, like, keep their mouth shut. Like, they have enough money to give people playtest gift cards for $500, but they don't have the money or the time or the devs to make a good game. A real head scratcher right there.
To not sound as petty as they really are. You can see this coming from Eurogamer. Is Hollow Knight Silksong's cheap price a problem for other indie games? Devs and publishers weigh up its impact. In quotes here, people have less money now and are buying fewer games. End quote. Wow. Who saw that coming? What? Are you telling me that people will spend $20 on an enjoyable experience over overpriced slop? That's crazy. But you can see the narrative being set here. It's not just about the bloated AAA games out there.
It reminds me of McDonald's raising the prices for all their food. And people got upset. And they said, what? You're still gonna buy it anyway. Where are you gonna go? You're just gonna keep buying McDonald's. And they were right, yeah, people just, like, kept buying McDonald's. The money keeps flowing in, so ultimately, yeah, AAA is just gonna keep charging you this dog shit, because people are still gonna buy their crap.
It's also indie developers who are responding, let's just say, not the best to this sudden release date that was shared about 2 weeks ago. And, well, they've been taking it to Blue Sky. Here is a developer of a different indie...
So salty.
...project here, Unbeatable, where they say that Silksong honestly should have cost $40, and I'm not even joking. I would go so far as to say, it's bad, it doesn't. But it will have effects, and not all those effects are good. So right off the bat, they're trying to basically say, hello, how do you do, fellow gamers? We should increase the price of this game. Are you on board?
But the reason why AAA games cost so much is because their budget is insanely overinflated. Is this not just kind of like just a skill issue in budgeting and using your money and your budget effectively? Like basic financing skills? Like, I understand if you're a game dev, it's not, like, your prerogative to be an amazing, like, financier or, like, be really good at budgeting. But you can find someone who can. And you can also use your resources more wisely as a game dev. People used to put tiny little fucking games into tiny little cartridges and work around the space that was offered to them at the time because the technology hadn't caught up yet. It's just like you need to be limit tested and try it out. And if you just don't have that ability, that's a skill issue.
No gamer is going to look at this and say, oh yeah, this game should be $40 for sure. No, I think we've just been so hammered down with bloated pricing. I
think the people that have the kind of money to afford games to be more expensive want to pay them $40. Don't get it twisted. There are people who are rich enough and well off enough that want to justify giving Silksong $40 because they love the game that much and they feel bad that it's $20. There's a big difference.
Where $20 seems pretty incredible for an indie game even. And I'm glad people are responding so well. There's something to be learned here, but they're trying to say that this price point, because
buy
the
two
game
copies.
is so successful,
true, you can.
is going to cause issues for other indie developers. But they continue on saying millions of people will probably buy Silksong on day one. And it was a game that had a very low budget because the budget is these devs worked on it without direct pay for however long they wanted to do that. It had these devs are independently wealthy budget of effectively $0. Okay. They can price however low they want. As a result, their return on investment is infinite no matter what they do.
So you're telling me a passion project that was made for the love of the game and not something that was like pressured by a corporation to push out an X amount of time using X amount of budget that needs to have a return on investment. You're telling me that those game devs that made a game just for the love of the game, they get an infinite return on investment? Wow, that's crazy. Whoa. I should be a game dev. That's mind-blowing. That's smart.
But by charging such a low amount, they are causing lizard brain signals to fire off saying this kind of game is worth $20 and you should expect this game for $20.
Yeah, maybe if you're retarded. Good. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Also, if you want to have a quote-unquote low budget, yeah, that's what happens when you have 3 core developers producing your game. And it's not like this is a fluke. They're trying to imply basically...
It's not Diablo 4 where you have 9,000 people working on one fucking game. Okay? You need to have that success in order to feed all those people, right? Imagine if Silksong was $0. I don't think it would ever go that far, but like if it was $5, people would lose their fucking mind.
They have like this infinite budget probably because of the success of Hollow Knight, but they did this before. They had massive success, and well, they earned the right to have this very easy approach to their sequel where they can take their time and really polish it because, well, they're coming off a great success, and I'm assuming are very wealthy as a result of just the first game, but definitely now even more with the sequel. But you see this idea that people now will have this expectation that games like this are $20. Good. All I'm saying is good. And they continue on saying if enough of those lizard brain signals fire, some kind of games with actual budgets to pay people will need to live are going to get priced out of existence unless they can get some kind of organic groundswell.
Schedule 1 was made by one guy, and it was a good quality game, and it popped off because a streamer played it on stream and really enjoyed it. That is notorious for playing indie games that are usually perceived as shitty, and they can pop the fuck off because they're fun to play and they're entertaining to watch. The guy didn't have organic groundswell. Like, I don't even know what the fuck this even means, to be completely honest with you. Can get the organic kind of groundswell you can't plan for. Yeah, because they made a game that they thought people would like.
You can't play for. I'm not worried about me. Unbeatable actually is a game like that. It has the kind of following. We'll probably be fine. But we could not price Unbeatable at lower than what we're gonna price it for a lot of reasons. Not every game...
What's the reason? I like how they don't list it.
Gets lucky like we did. and we did get lucky, and it shouldn't be the default expectation. No, I think you should just price the game whatever you want. And if it's good enough, people will buy it. As long as you're not going out there and doing something ridiculous with the pricing. But yeah, I mean, indie games need a little bit of groundswell. I mean, how do you get games like Schedule 1 blowing up out of nowhere? I mean,
because it was a good game. That's really it. I know people will argue and say, oh, well, you know, on Steam there's like thousands of indie games that are just like waiting to be found. It's like, no, not really. There's a lot of people playing games all the time. Word of mouth travels fast. If you get a lot of good reviews and they're legit, people will notice. And streamers playing them as well.
You know what? I think a lot of indie developers out there could learn a thing or two. Instead of going off and saying disparaging things about gamers all the time like we see with other indie developers. Maybe just like, I don't know, do your job, produce something fun, and maybe wait for those moments where some bigger...
Wait, I have the perfect analogy for this. If you're a streamer and your number one reason for streaming is clout and success and not doing it for the love of the game and doing it for fun, for listening to have someone to like feedback to with a chat or whatever, don't fucking stream. Just don't. Literally, you're just being a clout chasing little sissy. It's the same thing with a game in a lot of ways, even though it's like more of a job than a streamer, right? If you're not doing it for the love of it and just expecting a paycheck and doing it for profit purely, like obviously, wow, you're a streamer, you make money. You're a game dev, you make money. These people that made Silksong made millions and millions of dollars. Like, I don't know, man. Just don't.
Streamers
just don't stream
with your
don't be a game
and
dev.
Share it with their audience, and then that kicks off a big chain reaction. But there's some more reaction on Twitter this time from another indie developer saying, as a dev making a smaller Metroidvania than Silksong, which I originally thought would be fairly priced at 20 USD, what should I price it now? It'll be a 10 to 15 hour long game, but it was made by one person with limited dev time and funds. I can't afford to give it away for free. I'm glad to see that the responses to this were all just saying, sell it for $20. You're good.
Yeah, do what you want.
I think that is a fair price. I think getting into this comparison...
I think people... Again, this is all purely subjective. If a game is 10 to 15 hours and it's $20... You work a job and you start doing like mathematics in your head if it's worth the fun. If the game sucks and I bought it for $20 and I get 2 hours in and I'm like, this is not enjoyable, I will refund it, obviously. $20 is very subjective, purely out of the fun, the game, the music, everything else in between. Maybe the story is amazing. People can overlook jank as well just because it's like worth the money.
Match between all these indie games
if it's proportional to the time investment.
Becoming a bit of a problem when one game can all of a sudden disrupt the whole market and all the pricing associated with indie games. I think it's a bit much. But here's the more unhinged responses. A game creator over here saying, this is a fair statement, and quite honestly, at Team Cherry Games really does a disservice to the industry and other developers pricing Silksong so low. The level of work, craftsmanship, years, and you charge $20. I get being pro-consumer, but this would be infuriating.
I get you like your consumer base, but it makes me less money because I have to make a good game. This is what it sounds like to me. I don't know if that's what they're thinking, but that's what it sounds like to me.
To your colleagues, and in turn, distort
it's a free market, you freak.
Sense of worth. Why do people think they have the right to tell other people what they should price their game at? Like, if they want to do it for $20, they should do it for $20. And if gamers start having an expectation of that, I think that's fair. That's a good thing for the industry. But yeah, you can see how...
if anything, I look at it this way. If a game comes out and it's somehow better than Silksong, people will be like, oh shit, it should be like $40, and they charge $40, and they push it to make it $40, but it's better than Silksong. I think that because of how money works, it's a competitive market, people won't get mad about it, and that's just how fucking the free market works.
disingenuous all of this is. Someone else
they're trying to make a cartel.
Ratioed into a blip.
It's all gotta be like $30 at least. We have to put a cap on it. Otherwise, everybody else's budget goes out of whack because of one guy. They're so mad. They want to monopolize it, yeah.
Didn't knew who you were until I saw this post made to Team Cherry. I will avoid anything you work in the future because I've never seen so much arrogance and stupidity at the same time get bent. And this person responds by saying,
it is a very arrogant post, I ain't gonna hold you.
Well, I'm glad we've established that no one cares. I don't think people are gonna care about anything you create because you have this attitude and you're directly calling out this indie team because you don't like the price of their game because they took their time and they used their resources well and kept a small team so they could actually justify that price point. But anyways, here's some more stuff from Blue Sky. This person saying, by the way, Team Cherry absolutely had the responsibility of giving a heads up about the release of Silksong and accommodating other indie devs.
Here we go. Always the ones that are thinking about themselves and saying, "Oh, you should have thought of me first. Me.
Art isn't made in a vacuum. As indie devs, they are absolutely
what are we smoking, by the way?
Should know how hard it is for other indie devs to be visible. You can't do anything right. You can't even just release a game on your own schedule at your own price. You have to.
Do these people not know how NDAs work? Like, what are we talking about? You can tell it's a Blue Sky because 0 engagement. 11 likes. 2 comments.
Other indie devs. Like, I'm sorry. This is a business. You're selling games. Like, if someone like Silksong, if they want to go out there with their team and sell it at this time with this much announcement beforehand at this price, that's their choice. And you know what? If it's that easy, then why don't other people do it too? I don't really know where all this entitlement comes from, but it's not really a good thing. But as you can see, part of this is also that a lot of indie developers are now delaying their games to basically get out of the way of Hollow Knight Silksong. And
yeah, that kind of just happens naturally. I don't know why people are so fucking stupid about, like, how the world works and how hype works. You don't, like, plan out big events before the Super Bowl or after the Super Bowl. You let the Super Bowl cool down before you start, doing another big planned event because people are going to be pooped out. It's kind of like the same reasoning as, like, VTubers not having back-to-back-to-back subathons. Or, like, doing multiple subathons a year because it's just kind of like, it doesn't feel special anymore. And you're not going to get, quote-unquote, the most money out of the people. I'm not saying, like, VTubers are the same thing. This is the first thing that popped in my head. But the games aren't going to get as much attention because Silksong popped off. Even if it's not, like, the same genre.
And, if that's their call, that's their call. But the amount of indie games that have jumped ship as a result. I mean, you have games like this, right? Getting a lot of traction, too, with their post. Almost 1 million views, 20,000 likes.
This is so weird. This is very weird. Why did they put Hornet, like, as being the bully? I know about this game, too, by the way. Yeah.
I mean, they directly mentioned that they're pushing back their release here because of Silksong. I mean, they directly mentioned it. I appreciate their honesty, but they're one of many, many, many indie games that are doing this exact same thing, all pretty much directly mentioning Silksong as the reason they're doing this. And other people would react, again, expressing this message that Silksong's 2-week PR push has done some damage to other indie studios, and that they...
I swear, you can do everything right and just release a good game, and people will still be pissed no matter what. There's so many haters in this world, it's kind of insane. I've seen it with wholesome VTubers, I've seen it with games that just release a good game and people, like, love it, and there's nothing really to complain about, like, directly other than criticism, like, honest criticism, and people just fucking shit all over it for no reason. True, that's why I hate you. Thank you, Maple. Like, the tier 2 for 19 months, you little frick. I'm gonna see similar response when GTA 6 drops in May, but it's gonna be like the Blizzard hating. I don't know. I think that GTA 6, like with Rockstar, won't get as much leniency because GTA 6 also has insane expectations, man. I think it's a little bit different. It's a AAA game too, not an indie game.
They didn't think about the impact this would have on other indies and their marketing, and it's a bummer that they hope is not replicated.
But they said they were gonna release Silksong at the Nintendo Direct. They didn't give a date. Like, what? You didn't have enough time to know that this year? Like, again, so weird.
I mean, we've beaten this to death at this point.
These people are tourists.
Fact that there's so much pettiness and animosity towards Silksong and Team Cherry for just releasing this game in the way they saw fit. I don't know what to tell you at this point. That was their choice, and it paid off for them. They don't have a responsibility to other indie devs like that. That's just, I'm sorry. This is not everyone getting around singing Kumbaya and doing what's best for one another. It's a business, and they had to do what they thought was best for their products. But this is the perfect one to end the video on. This person says, I can't be the only one who thinks it's kind of effed up for Silksong to reveal its release date so late. Like, man.
It was revealed that it was going to release this year. By logical deduction, it wouldn't release during the summertime when it was announced. It would have released in quarter 3 or 4. Are we fucking... I hate these people so much. They're just so disingenuous and stupid, and they omit information to make themselves look like the victim. You literally would figure out that it would release by fall or winter of 2025. Because it said 2025. Like, you just deduced the logic. So stupid.
And you're indie developers. You should understand the struggle that studios go through. Another user says, which studio will be brave enough to say, Silksong can suck my balls, we're not moving?
Yeah, the ones that are probably gonna fucking fail.
And the original poster says, I pirate Silksong and buy 10 copies of whatever game does that.
Oh, this is another great example. People, generally speaking, don't release video games when World of Warcraft announces expansions and has release dates because it pulls so much traction from a very select and very big audience of Blizzard gamers that will play the game no matter what. It's a very common thing to do. It's not like a fucking big deal. Even a fucking huge AAA company like Blizzard, Activision, Microsoft, whatever it is now, but like, people plan their entire like year around big things like that because it releases consistently at around about the same time. You had enough time to think about when it's going to release.
So much for supporting indie developers. The second they do something you don't like, you're going to pirate their game and buy 10 copies of whatever other game out there tries to stick it to them. Amazing stuff. Not too surprising to see this sort of response on Twitter. But this whole thing has been interesting, and success well-deserved with Hollow Knight Silksong. I don't think anyone was too shocked to see the numbers this game is pulling. I mean, maybe it's a little more than some people expected, but I think everyone knew it was going to get hundreds of thousands of
I didn't expect it to be 400K. This is wild.
At any sort of peak point. And this is very impressive stuff in another indie game showing what the industry should be about, getting some reasonable price games out there.
It's so whiny, though.
And something people can...
Again, this witch game, whatever it's called, this one with the picture... Very, very, very strange behavior. Like, why is Hornet looking like a villain breaking their fucking broomstick? I was actually thinking about playing this game in my spare time because it's like kind of a girly game and give it a shot. Now I kind of don't want to. Low-key, it just seems so whiny.
It's a little more than some people expected, but I think everyone knew it was going to get hundreds of thousands of in-game players at any sort of peak point. And this is very impressive stuff in another indie game showing what the industry should be about. Getting some reasonable price games out there, something fun, and something people can, just enjoy without breaking their wallets. And This should serve as a lesson for a lot of people in the industry, especially the AAA side of the industry, who has lost their way in many regards, spending insane amounts of money to make slop when they are completely undone by a team of 3 devs. Many such cases. But anyways, that's going to do for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome. Well, I hope Silksong shows indie game devs that they have the support from the game devs to show that we support them no matter what if they release a good thing. It's this meme. I know what meme it is. It's the little Pepe that has the fries on the floor. I know what you're talking about. I don't know. It just seemed whiny. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just because, like, maybe the game devs wanted to play Silksong before the release. I don't know. Did they make, like, follow-up posts? They made a couple of follow-up posts about it. Okay. I think it was just the meme. Okay, well, that's fine. It's not important then. Whatever.